I'm your host, Cassandra, and welcome to Seniors at Play. Today we're joined by Vivian Schwartz, a retired computer analyst. Vivian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me, you were a computer analyst for what company?
Well, I'd rather not say the names because they kept merging one with the other, but they were major computer manufacturers who still sell computers today. So
Okay.
yeah.
And what does a computer analyst do?
Well, during the course of many decades in the computer business, I did virtually everything, starting as a programmer. What I was doing towards the end was working with customers and sales teams, figuring out what a customer's needs would be and recommending configurations for them, helping them get things up and running, finding software for them, finding hardware for them, just always on the technical side of the business.
Okay.
But towards the end, it was more working with customers than anything else.
Okay. And you said many decades. How long were you in that industry?
I started in the computer industry in 1965.
Okay. So almost close to its inception, yeah?
Yeah. Well, it was, I learned how to wire a 409 board. I worked on the first IBM 360 that was delivered in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
So it really was at the beginning of the industry. And I had, being a woman who was a math major and was a little weird in school because, that wasn't what girls did, I was hopeful that this was an industry that was going to be more welcoming to women. And at first it was. The problem is, as it matured, it became just like everything else, and it became overwhelmingly male.
Okay.
It was not unusual for me to walk into a meeting and there'd be 6 men and me.
Wow.
That was, that was most of my career was like that. But yeah, it was from the inception. The true computer people out there who are old enough will be impressed that I once met Grace Hopper.
Okay.
Now, if this is not a name you know, that's okay.
I don't.
No, that's okay.
Admittedly.
But as I say, the computer people will know and say, "Oh, wow, she met Grace Hopper."
Wow.
But yeah, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So did you enjoy this?
Most of my career, I really enjoyed. The issue was towards the end, I had always worked in big companies, really corporate America, and the nature of corporate America had changed significantly. There was a time when what your customers' needs were and how you addressed customers was the primary motivation.
Right.
Towards the end, it was what's the bottom line for this quarter so that our stock prices are good and there won't be a revolution out there and throw us out of our jobs.
Right. It became about money.
Yeah. So it became very different. I was just as happy to leave.
Right. Okay. So you said, how long did you work in this industry? About roughly?
From 65 to 99.
So you retired in 99?
How many decades is that?
It's a few.
Well, I was after the last companies I was with was merger, and they knew I wasn't happy, and so when they were laying people off, I kind of raised my hand. So I got a buyout package, and I somehow managed not to find another job in corporate America.
Oh, good for you.
It took a little doing, but
right.
Yeah. Because I had a long list of things I wanted to do. Some years before, when I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
We were at dinner one night, and I said, "Gee, I'd love to stop working in this environment." And they said, "Well, what would you do with yourself?" And I started listing things that I wanted to do with myself. They said, "There's not enough time in a week to do that many things."
Wow.
And that's basically what my life has turned into.
So tell me, what are these things that you wanted to do? Fill me in. I mean, our show is Seniors at Play, so we want to hear all about it.
Well, one of the things which has worked out really well is I wanted to do something at the Museum of Natural History in New York, the American Museum of Natural History. I was going there from the time I could walk until I brought my 86-year-old mother there to see the Christmas tree.
Oh, wow.
So it was a constant in my life. It made me interested in science. It made me interested in the world. It made me interested in ecology. It fostered so many wonderful things for me and my family and my brothers and so on. That has worked out really well. I can go into that in more detail. I was hoping to spend more time actually managing our finances. I tried that for the first year and decided I was no good at it,
Okay.
and my interest was not that high, and so I didn't do that. I
But you were a
also,
math major,
yes,
but not
math and finances
two
are two
different
different
things. Right,
things,
right, right.
not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm married to an actuary,
Oh, okay.
and he's not an accountant and he's not a financial person,
Okay.
too. So, it's different.
Okay.
We do numbers, just not our personal
But not our own
numbers.
numbers. Okay, it makes sense.
We have people who do that for us. What else did I want to do? Oh, I thought I might do a little teaching
Okay.
of computers, and I did that over the years with several different volunteer organizations. I did do that. I'm not doing that currently, but that's because I have grandchildren now and they take up a lot of time.
Right.
But I may go back to that after a while. But there are a couple of organizations that do really good work like that with people, with seniors in particular.
Oh, very nice.
I'm trying to think of the name of the organization I worked with. I should give them a plug, and I'm
if you think of it, let us know.
SeniorNet, maybe.
Okay.
I don't remember. And then after 9/11, one of the organizations in the town, I lived in Teaneck, New Jersey, and the town where I lived got a grant to retrain people who were displaced by what had happened there. And they actually paid me to, I set up their computer room, and several of us taught classes to people for a couple of years there too. What else did I do? I'm trying to remember.
That's a decent amount of things.
Okay?
So tell me
there was more, but
about your interest in the museum and what you did with it after you retired.
Okay. I went there and I said, here I am. What can I do? And they sent me to a group called Teaching Volunteers. And I worked with them for 18 years until I said, it's enough, I got to do I was doing other things too. They work with school kids when they come in the morning, those school trips. For a couple of hours, you work in a particular hall where you become an expert, or you know what to do. And when kids come in with their worksheets or whatever, you help them with the worksheets, or you tell them stories about things in the hall that, you don't just read the label copied to them. You tell them stories.
Right.
Once I was there, I got involved with a lot of other things going on there. And there are two wonderful things that happen there. One, the other volunteers are all very smart. I love to talk to smart people. We have these really weird sounding conversations at lunch or breakfast or whatever, where normal people, if they heard this, would say, who are these strange people?
Right.
Why are they talking about, black holes and gravitational waves, and and this is what we do there with each other.
That's exciting.
Actually, it's three things. The next thing is I love to talk to the people who are visiting. And in several of the jobs that I do there, I'm out on the floor accosting visitors, so to speak, just walking up to people and talking to them about what they're looking at. And as I said, again, not just reading them label copy and not just telling them technical things, but telling them background stories. And people love that.
They love that, yeah.
They absolutely, and I have a museum badge. They're getting attention from an official museum person who's telling them these great stories. And it's wonderful. I met some Buddhist monks who decided that I'm really a Buddhist. Because I told them the only thing you can be sure of in life is that there will be change.
Oh, absolutely. I like that.
So apparently,
You're a Buddhist
Anyway,
because you
yeah, that's
came
one of
up
the
with that
basic
profound
tenets.
thought, right?
Yes, that's. We were talking about the earth, but
Mm-hmm.
that was that. And the third thing is, I am constantly challenged to learn new material uh, of a scientific nature.
Okay.
Um, I am. They have. They don't have docents at this museum.
Right.
They give you particular jobs, and I've been an explainer. I'm an Earth and Space explainer, which means I can work in the Hall of the Universe, uh, the Hall of Planet Earth, the meteorites, and gems and minerals, which is closed right now and being rebuilt. And I just talk to people about banded iron and how stars form and where the meteorite came from,
Right.
and all of this kind of stuff. Uh, but I have also worked in, I can't count how many special exhibits. Uh, and I have learned material that I didn't even know I wanted to know.
Wow. Yeah.
So I have actually since then taken material that I've learned at the museum, and I have given presentations in my community and other communities in the area.
Wow. So you're
So
pretty active.
uh,
You're retired,
I'm
but not really.
I'm never home.
Right. Sounds you're
No
just
one
as
can.
busy
That's
as
why I
when
have
you
a cell
work.
phone,
Right.
because you can't reach me otherwise.
Wow.
I have my DNA presentation. I have my water presentation. I have my genomic revolution. I have my, I don't know, whole bunch. I have a whole
A
list
whole
of
list of
them about so long. And it's fun. I
right.
talk to people. They ask questions. They learn something. I'm sharing with them
Right.
what I've learned. Right now, I'm working on the senses. The new exhibit, it just opened.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're talking just before Thanksgiving, and it's opening this weekend.
Okay. Well, very nice.
So I've been working on that, and I've worked with the curator on that, on
Hmm.
several of these things.
So you're going to kind of be like the expert.
Well,
One of the
I
experts.
will be an explainer in the exhibit. And
Okay.
when people come to visit the exhibit, I will be in there, and I will, as I said, I won't just read text with them, but I'll share stories with them. I'll share with them that, they go into the color room where they're talking about color vision, and I'll share with them, it says, there's a gene that does this. I can give them more information about that. The gene is on the X chromosome, and this is what happens if it goes wrong, and blah, 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 that kind
So
of
you're
thing.
still constantly learning too.
Oh,
That's
absolutely. I
wonderful.
am. That is, as I said, that may be, as I said, those are the three things. There's
Right.
talking to people, learning stuff, talking to the other volunteers.
Which also
That's
combines learning from them, which is
right.
nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
sharing our
Sharing and learning.
information.
So
Um,
so you said you started in about 65. How has your family life been affected? Because you maybe had young kids in 65 and
yes.
then you retired. They were
Well,
obviously
yeah,
a lot
not
older.
yeah. I've been married 50 years,
Okay.
so my children are not quite that old
Okay.
yet, but they're getting there. Um, I worked full time while they were growing up,
Okay.
and we had someone who looked after them.
Okay.
A wonderful woman who then, when my children were grown, my parents moved in with us, and she took care of my
Oh, wow.
parents.
So she's kind of like family.
So let me tell you, she was my children's real grandmother, so to
Okay.
speak. That's I don't know how else she has since passed away, Eileen.
Hmm.
Um, and my children loved their other grandparents and whatnot, but when Eileen died, that was,
Oh,
it ripped
she
their
was
heart.
there
It
every
ripped
day.
their hearts out.
Right.
It ripped their hearts out. So I was able to have a career while she
They
took
were
care of my
taken care
house
of.
and my
Right.
children.
Right. Right.
That's
So
hey.
now, so now that you're retired, but not really,
Yes, I
do
am.
you get to spend time with your grandchildren now?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, as I said, I lived in Teaneck, New Jersey
Hmm.
for 30 plus years. And one day I woke up and I said, why am I living in this house? There were rooms that I hadn't walked into in that house in months
Oh, wow.
because you know, it was just my husband and me.
Right.
And, you know, Eileen would come in and straighten up and do our laundry, but, you know, there was
There
nothing
was
for,
nothing
you
else.
know, she
Right.
felt bad because there wasn't enough for her to do,
Right.
too. So we sold it, and I have one daughter who lives in Bordentown
Okay.
and another daughter who lives in Bucks County, both married, husbands, jobs, and children.
Okay. Very nice.
Yay!
Your job is done.
I figure, you know, that's the definition of success.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, they are leading relatively happy lives, fulfilling
Your dreams.
themselves and whatnot. And hey, you know, when we started looking for a house, we decided the choice was we were either going to move into Manhattan or move closer to our children. So we started looking for places down here which would have the distance to both of them.
Right.
And at that point, my older daughter told me she was pregnant.
Okay.
So my oldest grandson was bar mitzvahed in September.
Oh, mazel tov.
So yes. So you know that was the, you know, so yeah, and I did babysit various kids until the last two, which are twins. And my daughter's mostly stays home with them. I would take care of each of these kids one day a week.
Okay.
I would go
So
and I
still
would be with them all
spend time
day,
with
and
them.
their parents would go to work and do whatever. So I still go out and I see the twins now one day a week, but their mother's there too.
Right.
Except the other day she had to go into work, so
Yes. You
so
were
I
on
was
full
with them.
duty by
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. They're exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh,
I can imagine.
5-year-old twins. Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm pretty close to my grandchildren.
So
I
that's
have
nice.
four boys and a girl.
Oh wow.
The twins are a boy and a girl, but the three oldest are boys.
Oh boys.
And at this point, I'd kind of stop buying them presents and just start having experiences with them.
Oh,
instead.
that's great. I love that.
So, for instance,
They don't need anything, right? So like better that you
got
take
it.
them to the museum or things like that.
That's not even that's a given, right?
Right.
But Daniel, who's in Bucks County, when he was 11 this summer, I said, "You want to go see a Broadway show?" Because he performs in various things
very
in his kid things. And he said, "Sure." So I took him in September to see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which he had started the summer before in his, in his summer camp production.
So he loved that, I'm sure.
So it was really exciting.
Experiences are far greater than gifts,
right?
If you ask me.
The two brothers in Bordentown, their other grandmother and I took them to Washington, D.C.
Very nice.
Took them to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. once. The museum is a given. When Adam, who's now 9.5, was 8, and he was doing a project on the solar system, and his mother started telling him how the planet came about, and he started telling her, "Oh no, that's what," she said, "How do you know that?" "I've been to Grandma's museum 1,000 times.
Grandma's museum, I love that.
that kind of thing. So
that's nice.
So yeah.
See, one of my questions is usually, how do you fill your time now that you no longer work? But it sounds like, how do you find time for other things, like your other hobby? Do you have any other hobbies? Are there other things that you still want to do before, you can't do it anymore?
I used to knit.
Okay.
And I recently pulled a pattern off the internet that I'd love to make for myself. And I just haven't gotten around to buying yarn.
Okay.
I mean, that's
because you're so
silly.
busy.
That's silly. When we first moved down here, I used to run a computer club in our community, and I since have backed off that. But I still make presentations to other computer clubs on various subjects.
Right.
They call me up. "Can you talk about this?" In February, I'm talking to a community about my experiences at the museum. They wanted to know more about the museum, so I'm going to talk to them about what my experiences there are and the things I like to do. And I have lots of wonderful photographs I can show them too.
Right.
So that's an
So you're
example of the
teaching, which
kind
is
of thing. I also run a science discussion group
very
at
nice.
our senior center once a month. The participants pick a topic for the next meeting. I do some research, I present them some material, and then we talk about it. We ask questions, we share knowledge, and we talk about science stuff, and it ranges far and wide. I also belong to 2 book clubs.
Wow. You're not really retired. I'm going to say you do more than I do, and I'm nowhere near retirement.
Well, the truth is, I really think that I have one of the most successful retirements of
I
anyone
would
I
say
have
yes.
ever met.
I would say yes.
And I'm just having fun. I also cook.
Oh,
I
okay.
cook. I'm mostly
Every day.
No.
Okay.
I'm mostly vegetarian,
Okay.
and I have not been impressed with the eating out establishments that I'm
Vegetarian
comfortable
options,
in.
right?
Down in this part in central New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more choice in northern New
Well, it's
Jersey.
more hip in, I guess, the city, so it's
Yeah.
It's more like we're still adapting down here.
So I joined a CSA, Community Supported Agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
and this past week was the last week when we got our fresh vegetables from them. I'm going to miss going out to the farm, so I go out to the farm every week.
Wow.
And sometimes, depending on what they have, I will pick my own stuff too, depending on what pick your own stuff they have.
Right.
So I've got a freezer full of vegetables and strawberries and peaches and stuff like that now. And I cook.
Pretty often. So it doesn't sound like you are slowing down anytime soon. It sounds like you're still every day pretty active, moving around, working. Because I talk to a lot of seniors, and a lot of them are just like, I'm just looking forward to my downtime, and I don't feel like you have any downtime.
I don't. I also work out
every day.
No.
A couple of times a week.
I have to admit.
So you have
3-4 times a week, and then I try to swim a couple of times a week too.
That's a lot.
So it comes out. It's not quite every day, but it's just. This morning I slept in.
Okay, good for you. So do you have any regrets? Like, would you have quit working earlier had you known this, you would live this fulfilling life, or would you have worked longer? What if any?
I've got to figure out how to travel more.
Okay.
This past summer, we went to see the total eclipse.
Oh, wow. Oh, where'd you go? Down to?
We were in Wyoming.
Okay.
And we went, it was a tour of the national parks with the eclipse in the middle. So the eclipse was wonderful. I'm looking at a trip to Iceland next year.
So am I.
For the Aurora Borealis.
In January. I'm going to do it in January.
No, this is next
next
October.
year. No, I'm doing January
October.
2018.
Oh,
yeah.
yay.
It's going to be freezing,
yay.
But yeah. That's exciting.
We also were looking at a trip. My husband is very involved with Jewish stuff. So one of the organizations he belongs to has a trip to Italy in the spring that's going to go to libraries.
Oh, very nice.
And like the Vatican Library, places you can't get to. Vatican
This
Library,
sounds like it's right up your alley.
archives in Padua, really, really weird kinds of stuff. So we might be doing that. They just don't have enough people to make up the trip yet. So we're hoping they do. If they do, we'll go there. So I'd like to get my act together to travel more. A couple of years ago, I went on a trip from the museum with a very famous anthropologist, where we saw the prehistoric caves of northern Spain and southern France. And that was very extraordinary.
So it sounds like you might have to take time off from your
job,
of your job of doing all these other things to travel more.
Yes.
Yeah. But I love that you said.
So I probably don't travel as much as I want to.
So that's maybe your one regret.
Yeah.
That's it. But you're living a pretty happy retirement. It sounds like you are anyway.
Yes, I am.
Well, it has been wonderful talking to you. I hope you make some time to travel. I mean, you need to. It sounds like you need a break. It sounds like you need a break. Thank you so much again for coming, Vivian. That's our show. Join us next time.